Hi you guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel this week. I'm so sorry that I missed putting up a video last week. Those of you that subscribe may have noticed that there was nothing when there was supposed to be something last Wednesday, and that is because I had a crazy busy acting week, which is fantastic, but I swear to you, when it rains it pours. Like there's either nothing or everything all at once. It was like 2 TV show auditions, 1 commercial audition, and then a commercial callback, a couple other things. Like it was just nutty, and there was no time for me to sit down and make a video. So I'm really sorry, but I'm here now. So today's video is all about kind of a hidden gem in the actor's toolbox, and I am talking about Alexander technique. Have you heard of it? The Alexander technique is incredibly useful. I am not an expert on it, but I have taken a couple courses on it. But I'm going to tell you what I know, and I really encourage you to continue to check it out and research it after you watch this video. Okay, let's just get started. I was first introduced to the Alexander technique when I was studying at Stella Adler Academy of Acting way back in the day. Like when I first moved here, that was the first place I went to study. And that school, like you can take individual classes, but to graduate the academy, the 2-year program, you have to take certain courses. And Alexander is a required course to take. That's how important it is, yet it's not like an insanely widely known class. Just not a lot of actors have heard of it, let alone practiced it, and it is so important to have in your practice all the time. It's so beneficial. I wish it was more widespread. I think it's getting there. Everyone is realizing exactly how valuable it is, but I'm really glad that I was introduced to it so early that I could put it into practice early on. And I recently took an Alexander technique workshop with a teacher named Brett Hershey. It was a really incredible workshop. He's so good and explained things so clearly, and it was a really great refresher course to what I had learned back in the day at Stella Adler. P.S. I will link that teacher's info down below. Okay, so what is Alexander technique? Basically, Alexander technique is a method or a practice of body work that allows you to have more power and more freedom in your acting. And it has a lot of focus on the head, your back, and the neck areas. You know, every artist has an instrument. There's musicians, there's painters, there's actors. As an actor, your main instrument is your body. And your other major instruments are your voice and your facial expressions. And if things aren't in line and in tune with your body, then everything else is not gonna be functioning properly or as best as it could. Does that make sense? So just to kind of give you an idea, an example of what I experienced in my most recent workshop that I took with Brett Hershey, he handed out a scene, and I was paired up with another actress, and in the scene I'm supposed to be very dominant, and I'm supposed to be telling her what to do. And my general go-to is to be very nice. That is me as a person. I'm not very authoritative as a person. And so that can show in my acting a little bit that I'm not as strong as I could be and using all my power that I have. So basically in this scene, he had me read it to her once. And when I did it, you know, I said the words, but my shoulders were definitely kind of forward, and I was hunched a little bit, and I think my neck was forward, like I was trying to tell her, trying to express something. And then he came and corrected. He used Alexander technique to kind of correct my posture. And I want to say that it's not just about posture. When we think of posture, we think of like shoulders back and down and head up and that, but that actually creates so much tension. And that is what the creator of Alexander technique, who I'll tell you about in a second, that's what he noticed was the big issue, is that there was so much tension, and that was causing his voice to have problems and everything. So basically, the focus of Alexander technique is more about letting go, like letting your shoulders drop down and letting your head kind of float off your neck, so that you're not pulling it up, you're not pulling your shoulders down, you're not pushing your head forward. It's all just supposed to be aligned and nice. And so then when I redid this scene with her, and my head was, you know, more back in line, the back of my head is more in line with the back of my shoulders, and my shoulders are resting back, and it's much more comfortable, and my voice is freer. I was able to really tell her with a lot more authority what I was trying to say. And it just felt like, I can't describe, you have to take one of these workshops or take a class to really understand how it feels, because it is the biggest difference in the world. And any character that you go to portray has a different body language, and so much of acting is body work. And Alexander technique is like where you should start as far as figuring out the physicality of your character. So now I can give you a little bit of history on Alexander Technique so that you can know where it came from and exactly how legit it is. Alexander Technique was started, it wasn't called that yet, of course, but it was started by F.M. Alexander, and he was an Australian actor. He was born, when was he born? He was born in 1869. He died in 1955. And every time he would do a performance on stage, he would get a very bad case of laryngitis. And he saw a lot of doctors. They couldn't treat him. They couldn't figure out what the problem was. And so he went to work on himself. He was so sick of it that he decided he was going to find his own solution. And he figured out that it was all the tension in his neck and shoulders and back that was causing him to lose his voice every time and get laryngitis. So then he taught his findings and his new method to all these doctors who were able to use it on their patients. He also then taught the technique, which now is called Alexander Technique, to students and actors for 35 years. And he also taught other people to teach Alexander Technique. So he is gone now, but you can find a certified Alexander Technique teacher anywhere in the world. And there's a lot of great ones here in LA, in most big cities where there's actors. And I want to say this is not just for actors. If you have something to say, you should be able to say it. And having your body aligned properly really helps you get your point across. I mean, it's not having to raise your voice. It's about the instrument that the voice comes out of. Am I being clear? I hope I'm being clear. I hope I'm making sense and this is hitting home because, I just can't express how valuable I think this is, and I really do think you should try it. I mean, why not? Like I said, guys, there's not too much more I can give you on this topic because I am not a certified Alexander Technique teacher. The last time that I took a very long course was a very long time ago, and I'm sure there's even been new developments and teachers that can just say so much more than I can. And I really want you to go check it out. Go to alexandertechnique.com. You'll find a plethora of information there. And if you want to follow my advice and go ahead and find a certified Alexander Technique teacher near you, you can go to amsatonline.org. That's AMSAT online.org. That is the American Society for the Alexander Technique. And I will link that down below for you, of course. But that is where you can just type in your zip code or your city or whatever, and you can find an Alexander Technique teacher. And Brett Hershey, who I mentioned earlier, I was pleased to see is on that website. So luckily, it turns out I did take the class from a certified teacher. I'm sure there's plenty of uncertified teachers out there. So I would advise checking out this site so you can make sure that you're getting, the proper education on Alexander Technique. Please check it out, you guys. Even if it is just a one-day workshop, it will be worth it. I promise it will change you. All right, guys, that is it for today. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.